This is day 1 of 10 on basic camera settings. So to start out, we are going to focus and break down exactly how to use different settings on a camera and where to find them and how to change them, just in case you've never ever done that before. First, ISO. The ISO stands for the International Organization for Standardization. Basically, the ISO measures how sensitive a camera's sensor is to light. It controls how bright or dark your photo is by adjusting your camera's sensitivity to light. In sports photography, a low ISO 100 to 400 keeps images crisp in bright conditions, while a higher ISO 800 to 3200 helps in low light like night games. You may actually need to go all the way up to 8,000 or 10,000, depending on how the lighting is in a gym, for example. But be careful, because too high and your photos will get grainy. You need to make sure you balance the ISO and the shutter speed and the aperture for the best results. Today is day 2 of 10 on basic settings for sports photography. Shutter speed controls how long your camera sensor is exposed to light. For sports, you need a fast shutter speed, at least 1/1000, to freeze action without blur. Faster speeds like 1/2000 or 1/4000 are great for high-speed moments. If it's too slow, your photos will turn out blurry. So adjust depending on the lighting and the sport and how fast they're going. Day 3 of basic settings for sports photography. Aperture. Aperture controls how much light enters your lens and affects background blur. A wide aperture, like f2.8 or f4, lets in more light and creates that nice blurry background, making the athlete stand out. A narrower aperture, like f8 or f11, keeps more in focus but needs more light. For sports, it will depend on the style you are wanting. If you are wanting that distinction between the background and the player, you are going to want to keep your aperture low. If you are wanting to see the fans or the people in the background and the athletes, you'd want to raise that to f8. This is day 4 of basic settings for sports photography. White balance. White balance ensures your photos have natural colors by adjusting for different lighting conditions.
You know when you're trying to focus on an athlete, they make a crazy catch and your camera decides to focus on the background. I wish I could say this one trick would save you from ever missing the shot again, but I won't. For sports, getting the focus is more important and harder because your subject is moving. Some may say manual is the way to go, but I stay on autofocus. More specifically, continuous autofocus. You can change between auto and manual on your lens, and to change the continuous autofocus, you go into your menu. There are different autofocuses you can choose from and different manual settings. You want to choose, depending on your camera, the continuous autofocus one for sports. You've taken the photo, you upload it, you edit it, but then it's just really grainy. But you had all the right settings. RAW versus JPEG. JPEG is fine if you're just uploading it to social media. However, if you want high resolution photos, you need to use RAW. All you do is go to your menu and you should have the options between RAW and JPEG, or JPEG. You may have other options depending on your camera, but this is where you choose RAW. This way your photos come out crispy and clean. Being able to change settings really fast. It's important to customize your camera so that you can change your settings on the go. Many cameras allow for you to change the different buttons on your camera so that you can quickly change your ISO, your shutter speed, or your aperture. Understanding how a camera reads light. This is the metering mode. Evaluative/matrix is great for balanced exposures, while spot metering helps in tricky lighting. To find and change your camera's metering mode, typically you'll navigate to the shooting menu or camera settings, then look for an option labeled metering or something similar, where you can select from options like evaluative, center weighted, or spot metering. This is helpful depending on if you are inside or outside shooting sport. This is my favorite sound at a basketball game. Well, not really. There is really nothing like that shutter sound while taking lots of photos all at the same time. But how do you do that? This is the drive mode. This controls how fast or how many shots you take per click. All you have to do is go into your settings. It will give you different options to do a self-timer, single shooting, or continuous shooting. But work with what you have and use the continuous shooting to get as many pictures so that you don't miss the shot.